Hello, my name is Grace, and I am your 2019-2020 official Oregon Lucia. Scandinavian tradition holds that in Sweden, a white-clad maiden wearing a crown of burning candles and a red sash brought food to the starving villagers along the shores. On the morning of December 13th, the strains of Santa Lucia are heard everywhere as the white-robed maiden comes out of the night with her burning crown of candles to dispel the darkness, bringing bright light to the Christmas season. While it was originally a Swedish tradition, it has since spread to many other Scandinavian countries. Lucia morning is celebrated in nearly every Scandinavian home, office, church, and at large public events. Traditionally, she brings coffee and saffron rolls. She is generally accompanied by a full Lucia Court. Honoring the tradition, serving the community, supporting women's education, the spirit of Lucia is alive at Nordic Northwest.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'm Sarah Winter. I'm chair of the Lucia program and was a court member myself 2 years in a row, many years ago. Since 1956, the Scandinavian community of Oregon has taken great pride in sharing, presenting, and preserving the special tradition of Lucia. Throughout these 66 years, we have sent young women to Sweden, brought light to retirement homes and children's hospitals, supplied needs to our houseless and foster communities, just to name a few. It is my great pleasure to introduce you today to Nordic Northwest's 66th official Oregon Lucia Court. Throughout the next year, these 5 young ladies will shine the light and story of Lucia by attending over 20 different events, bringing holiday cheer to foster families, and each will receive a scholarship to further educate their own goals. Thanks to generous members of our community, Nordic Northwest is able to provide each court member with a scholarship for higher education. Thank you to everyone who has donated to this amazing program and these amazing young women. Just as Lucia did many years ago, each of these young women bring their own beautiful light to our community. Today, each girl will introduce themselves and give a speech about their passion for Nordic culture, tradition, and heritage. After the speeches, our panel of judges have the most difficult task of all. They will decide who of these 5 deserving young ladies will be crowned Nordic Northwest's 66th official Oregon Lucia. They will base their decision on their enthusiasm for Nordic culture, heritage, and tradition, along with a heart for community. Our judges today are Dirk Schulbach, Maren Williams, Sandra Miller, Bruce Tollenen, and Ava Basile. Thank you. What they decide today will remain sealed in a top secret envelope until the crowning. This year's crowning will be streamed online from the historical Fogelbo on November 27th. Please be sure to tune in. And now, in a randomly chosen order, I will hand the microphone over to our 2022 Lucia Court so you can see their light for yourself.
It's wonderful to see everybody here this afternoon. Hello, I'm Julia Groh, and I am so excited to be a member of the 2022 Lucia Court. Ever since I first learned of St. Lucia and her passion for serving the community, I knew I wanted to be more like her. I've grown up being the oldest daughter of 7 children, so having such an impactful role model like St. Lucia has truly helped me to better serve my family and those around me. Being a member of my school's National Honor Society enables me to volunteer more often and reach a wider community of people. I have been volunteering at community events since middle school because I wanted to serve others just as St. Lucia did. I am very thankful for my personal Swedish heritage and for all of the Nordic festivals and events that occur in Oregon throughout the year. Living in Oregon has helped me develop a deep appreciation for plants and nature. And I adore the Midsummer's Festival, and I can't wait to volunteer there next year. Making flower crowns is one of my favorite activities in the summer, at least as long as the flowers are still in bloom. My mother still has my flower crown from our first Midsummer's Festival trip hanging on the wall above her desk. My mother has also amassed a small army of Dala horses that can be found throughout our home year-round. I once made a Dala horse cake for my family and I to enjoy, using some of those Dala horses in our house for inspiration while decorating. My mother says the horses remind her of her childhood and growing up in a little Swedish community in the Midwest. While I enjoyed sharing my simple Dala horse cake with my family, I've found that traditional Swedish desserts just taste so much better, especially the ones paired with fruit. Apple cake, or äppelkaka, is, in my opinion, one of the best after-dinner desserts, but to be honest, any dessert with lingonberries or cloudberries takes the metaphorical cake. Sharing rye bread and lingonberry jam with my mother has definitely helped me to develop a true taste for Nordic culture. My mother's love for all things Swedish was directly passed down to me while growing up. When I first learned about runic alphabets like the Elder Futhark, I fell in love. Languages have always been a passion of mine, especially the phonetic ones. I thought runes and runestones were fascinating, and I hope to one day be able to visit a runestone in real life. I am so excited to have the next month to fully embrace my Scandinavian heritage by serving and making appearances with the Lucia Court. It's been an honor to have this moment to share a little bit about myself with you all. Thank you.
Hey, jag heter Maya, or hi. I'm Maya Hunter, and I'm a half Swedish, half American senior at Lake Oswego High School. Some of my passions include playing lacrosse, soccer, doing community service work, and hanging out with friends and family. Just like Lucia, I strive to bring light and hope to the people around me through my community service work. You can find me volunteering at local organizations such as Rosehaven, Randall's Children's Hospital, and The Mission, just to name a few. In my family, the Lucia tradition has always been very special to me. I can still remember waking up early with my siblings, getting dressed up, singing, and bringing Lucia buns and coffee to my dad. My older sister got to be the Lucia, I was her attendant, and my brother was a star boy. As a little girl, I also got to be a part of the special Swedish school Lucia traditions. It was so much fun to get to dress up and sing for my friends, family, and the Nordic community at ScanFair and the church service. I even got to be Lucia once. It was truly a memory I'll never forget. I also had fun bringing the Swedish tradition of Lucia to my school. Almost every year, I would get dressed up and bring cookies to my classmates as me and my mom would tell the story of Lucia. We brought extra outfits and even made our own little Lucia Court. During my many years attending Trollbacken, the local Swedish overnight camp, I especially enjoyed the year dedicated to Lucia. We got to have our own Lucia Court and spent the week learning songs so that at the end of the week when our parents came to pick us up, we could sing for them. Lucia might be my favorite Swedish tradition, but that's not to say that I don't love Midsummer as well as the Swedish traditions that come with Christmas and Easter. My Swedish heritage has always been something that has been very important to me, but I think that my passion for it really grew after I got to spend my sophomore year living and going to school in Sweden. I got a chance to immerse myself in the Swedish culture, and I can confidently say that there is nothing else like it. My year in Sweden helped me learn the language more. I got to learn about the daily norms, daily life in Sweden, and learn even more about the Swedish traditions. It truly would be such an honor to be Lucia and represent the Nordic community, spreading light, hope, and inspiring young children to embrace their Nordic community and maybe even be Lucia one day.
Hello, my name is Selena Stone and I'm 18 years old. I have anticipated being on the Lucia Court for quite some time. Last year, I was accepted into the court, but wasn't able to partake due to other things going on in my life. As disappointing as that was, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to be a part of it now, and hopefully be involved with Nordic Northwest for many more years to come. I come from a Swedish-American family. Our maternal ancestors hailed from Älvdalen in Dalarna County, and our paternal ancestors came from various parishes throughout Älvsborg and Jönköping. My family started celebrating Swedish culture after my older brother went to the New Sweden Cultural Heritage Society and started bringing new traditions home as well as reviving old ones. He cooks and bakes us many delicious treats all the time. Some of my favorites are artsoppa, which is similar to split pea soup, and it really warms the heart, and my great-great-grandmother's recipe for Swedish meatballs. We also got involved in Lake Haringen of Portland, a Scandinavian folk dance group where we learned a large variety of different dances from the Nordic countries. We'd perform what we had learned to our family on both Swedish and American holidays, including the 4th of July, to add some Nordic flair. My mom made us Scandinavian costumes too, so that we looked the part as much as we danced it. Some of my favorite dances include Hornfiffen from Denmark, a fast-paced and very tiring dance to perform, but fun all the same, as well as Riksdal's dance from Sweden, a pretty schottish with many figures. One of our most memorable performances was one year when we set up our own midsummer pole in our backyard and my brother baked midsummer torta. It was a blast. He would also bake a princess torta for New Year's. One time, my mom had made my sister the cake for her birthday, but she opened the fridge and it fell out onto the floor. But luckily, it was salvageable. On my own time, I have learned some Swedish words, and I hope to learn a lot more about the language. Also, Swedish music, especially pop, is my jam. Lucia Day was one of the first Nordic holidays that I was introduced to. We would have freshly baked saffron buns, and my brother would stream the Lucia procession in Sweden. There's a multitude of reasons why I want to be on the Lucia Court, namely to help me grow my passion and become more involved within the Nordic community. I'm very excited to meet new people, participate in volunteer opportunities, and learn more about Nordic traditions. I really like tradition because it lets us reflect on our past while guiding our future. To me, Lucia represents a light in the dark, and that principle can take many forms. Embodying it can be as simple as a small gesture of kindness, because you never know to what extent your actions can positively affect another person. Throughout this year, I plan to be performing many gestures of kindness and community as part of the Lucia Court. I appreciate your time. Tack så mycket.
Hi, my name is Meriwether Stewart, and I am a junior at Benson Polytechnic High School. My major is radio, as I love the art of communication, whether it be face-to-face or over the air. I've always been open and proud about my Nordic heritage. My mom's side of the family comes from Sweden and Norway, and I've been celebrating this fact since I was old enough to know what it meant. I've been part of the Vasa youth group since I was 2 years old, dancing and singing with my practically lifelong friends at all kinds of fun events. My favorite event to go to with my Vasa friends is all those fun dances that we have around midsummer every year. This year, we danced around the midsummer pole at Oaks Park. We danced around the midsummer pole in Astoria, and we even brought joy to people living in a retirement home by doing a little celebration there. It made me so happy when a bunch of senior citizens got up and danced with us around the small midsummer pole that we had brought. They even sang along, too. When I was in elementary school, my sisters and I performed Crested Hen at our school's talent show, which everyone loved. The next year, we danced Raven Rosker over Isen, and we would tell anybody who was confused that no, it's not about a bird, it's about a fox. My love of my heritage goes well past just doing the dances, however. I bring my history with me everywhere I go. Last year, in English class, we were assigned to write about something important to us, and I wrote about the amazing community that I find in organizations like Nordic Northwest and the Vasa Youth Group. Last year on Lucia Day, I wore my Swedish dress to school and told everyone who asked about what it was and what day it was. Over the summer, I had a job working at my school's radio station, AM 1450 KBPS, and I was tasked with interviewing people about stories and events. I remembered the Nordia House and scheduled an interview with the organizer of the Nordic Knitting Circle. I learned a lot about what the group has to offer, and I shared it with the listeners of the radio station. I even put my heritage in my writing. I have a character I love to write. Her name's Callie, and she is Swedish.
I wrote about her doing dances around the midsummer pole and about her doing all these fun Scandinavian activities. And it helped me further understand my heritage, to do research, to learn more about what she would do, and I learned more about what, we do in Sweden. As you can see, my Nordic roots run deep, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to be on the Lucia Court this year and help lead my community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bella Peterson, and I'm currently a junior at Hillsborough High School. I'm of Finnish descent, and being Finnish has always been something my family has been very proud of. But the thing we treasure most about our Finnish heritage in my family is sisu. The word sisu in the Finnish language means strength of will, determination, perseverance, and long-lasting courage. These are all defining characteristics of the Saint Lucia. As a savior to the nations of the Nordic region, she brought light and warmth to an otherwise unforgiving winter. In doing this, she blessed her people. Here in Oregon, our winters may not be as long or as dark and frigid, but the world itself seems to be diminishing in light, with no promise of the sun rising. But that is where we, as figurative descendants of Lucia, can and must revive her legacy by being a light to those around us. That is my mission in life, to find the brokenhearted, hungry, lost, afflicted, and alleviate their pain. But Lucia is not just a historical figure. Rather, her influence seems to be working in the life of all of my ancestors. My great-great-grandparents, Anna Angelina Niskanen and Aita Tomasen Ilpalki, for example, immigrated to the United States from Finland. But when they arrived, their American dreams were not reached in the way that most would think of as a success. Instead of living a life full of comfort and pleasure, they had to sacrifice much in hopes for their future priority to have a full life full of comfort and pleasure that they did not receive. For example, my great-grandpa, Philip Harold Palki, son of the aforementioned Anna and Aita, had to drop out of school at the age of 15 because he, along with all of his siblings, needed to help support their large family. To give a more detailed image of what their life was like, they had nothing more than a meager homestead that went without plumbing and electricity in a small town in Minnesota called Swan River. My family, like many others, had to work harder than most can imagine in order to sustain any kind of life here in America, but they didn't let that crushing reality of life break their hearts and spirits because they, like Lucia, possessed sisu. This strength is something that I see every day in my mom, aunts, uncles, and grandparents, and it will be forever woven into our hearts, never to be taken away. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. That was amazing. You all just really bring so much to our community, and we really, really appreciate you. So at this time, we're going to conclude our selection event, and we're going to hand it over to our panel of judges to choose who will be crowned our new Lucia on November 27th. Thank you.